Let's go, people! Let's go! It's Prognosis negative time!
Hi, this is Eric.
Hello, this is Isaac or Ike.
And welcome back. This is Prognosis Negative, episode 55. And as promised at the end of the last episode, we are doing something we have not quite done before on this podcast, which is discuss a television series. Now, episode 1 of this podcast, which was Caravan of Courage, one could argue, that was a TV movie, fine. But, okay, this is not that, though. This is an actual series, and an animated series at that. And join us as we take you through a hopefully broad discussion of the first 5 episodes of Tron Uprising.
And now, a sneak peek of the new Disney XD series, Tron Uprising. There's a war raging. Clue's generals have taken over every city on the grid.
Greetings, programs. In the name of our great leader, Clue, I now claim Argon City as occupied territory.
If Tron were here... You mean if Tron were alive?
In a far-off corner of the grid, a young program decides Clue must be stopped.
Do you really think if they believe Tron's alive, it will inspire a revolution?
I know it will.
We won't be intimidated. I don't care how strong or powerful your forces are.
Who do you think you are? Tron?
You can't save them all!
Watch me.
This renegade, Tron, whoever he is, he's causing a lot of problems.
He's fighting for us.
This renegade will be brought to justice.
Who are you?
You said it yourself. I'm Tron!
Tron Uprising, the brand new Disney XD animated series, premieres this June on Disney XD.
First off, I want to start with something. I don't know if you were aware of this, Isaac, because I don't know if you do much reading up on production or anything before doing a podcast on something like this. But I didn't know this, and I was wondering because I use the TV Time app to log into every episode of anything I watch, or log. I mean, not log into, but log. And I've been doing it for years. And when I was logging this show, I was confused because, there's episode 1 on Disney Plus, episode 2, 3, but the numbering was off from the TV Time app. And I was like, why is the numbering off? And the reason the numbering is off is because the first episode was actually released as a special pilot. And then on the TV Time app, it considers episode 2 to be episode 1. It considers episode 1 to be a special episode. So, did you sense any of that just from watching the episodes?
With my time with Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's a little similar, but not really. Sorry for that paradox and that weird confusion. I just mean, because there is an unaired pilot that they did make in, I think, really early on 2000s, before they actually put the series out. It's available on, I think, some of the special features in the VAM, as you would call it.
Yes. Oh, you're learning Doctor Who words.
Or I just listened to the comment discussion again.
That's
And we, yeah, I definitely was wondering if, originally when they released this first airing, not streaming, sorry, for airing back in Disney XD in 2012, I don't know if it was just like, oh, this is the pilot, or like this is the special pilot. I don't know what you want to call it. Yeah, pilot special, and then the two-parter is the first episode and the second episode, which is kind of similar to Last Airbender and how they approached that with the first two episodes, where you could consider it like, one long episode, but episodes have each its own name.
But once I discovered this is after I watched all 5 episodes in prep, is I discovered that, like why the numbering system was off. But then once I learned, oh, that one was sort of like a special, and then we get into the series. And I didn't check this part, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the first episode released on Disney XD and there was I don't usually like to make guesses. I usually like to look everything up before I say
of course.
it. But I'm just going to guess that there was probably a gap, maybe some months, before they actually started airing the rest of the series.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, kind of similar to what, roughly. Hear me out.
I think I know what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Clone Wars?
Yes, exactly. Yep. I think this may have been done that way, I think. But the other reason why it doesn't shock me that the first one was sort of like yes, it was a pilot, but then released as a special, to kick off the show, because this is something I've always noticed in animated shows, but in plenty of television series, especially television series that have like a lot of special effects because they're sci-fi or some kind of supernatural horror or something, or just like a fantasy locale. And I'm sure you've noticed this in generally, like your whole life watching programs, that you can tell when there's like so much effort into episode 1 in terms of like the story, the look, cinematography, special effects, if it's live action, all that kind of stuff. And then you get into like episode 3, 4, 5, etc., and it just kind of becomes like issue of the week. You have noticed this, yes?
You just took all the words right out of my mouth. I don't even have to repeat anything that you said. I'm just going to agree with you and second what you say. Absolutely. That was, when I say disappointment, I will not say worse, or at least maybe disappointment's the wrong word. Forgive me. But whatever, it is definitely noticeable of, oh man, you almost wish that this series was shorter. Not immediately. I'm not like regretting doing this. I'm just saying you almost want this to be shorter and similar to like, I guess, like Columbo, for instance, where Columbo's, at least in the prime, Columbo years, of like the 70s to 80s or before, whenever it was, taken off air. You almost wonder if it should just be like every few months or so, because it wasn't every week they were putting out Columbo. It was every like month or something. Forgive me, I don't remember.
Yeah. There would be like, well, it depends what year you're talking about.
I'm sorry, Sean and Steve. My apologies. Yeah. I'm talking like 70s. It depends
what year of Columbo you're talking about.
Or 70s era.
Yeah, 70s or 90s era. It depends. I mean, even within those eras themselves. But I'm going to guess maybe around like 6 spread out during like a typical season of television.
In an entire year, or?
Yeah.
Okay, see, that's exactly, yeah. If they made these like 30 minutes each and there was only like 4 or 5 of them, boy, you definitely are like, oh, that's, okay, this is, because Pilot did a great job, did exactly what it is, and made me want to watch more.
Yep.
Because wow, was it like intent? Like what is it? It was, when I say action packed, it was very dynamic. It was very kinetic. It was it was moving. It kept moving. The motivation seemed very strong for me. I felt like, okay, this is very clear, and I want to see where this guy's going to go. And it even made me excited for like, okay, now we're going to have like week to week stuff. I know what I'm to expect. Of he's going to be Like this is almost Batman in a way, and he's going to be like trained by a person who is no longer is fit to basically fight. And so I'm like, okay, no, I love where you're setting me up. I love the setup of this and where we're going with this. And then I think it was either by episode 3 or 4, I went, oh, okay, this is not disappointing. I'm not off. I'm still feeling it, but it's like, okay, this is it's funny. While I am starting to appreciate more like, sequential storytelling or, this, I guess it's old by this point.
You mean serialized?
The serialized thing, yeah. This serialized format. Sorry, I get them confused all the time, and Caleb and I have done an episode of this talking about this very thing, this very subject matter. But I'm enjoying this I guess old school format, if you want to call it that, even though cable television shows still exist. This is not a cable TV show, by the way.
Well, it was.
I guess. Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know if Disney Plus.
Yeah, because Disney XD was like, I think it still exists, but it was a regular like part of your cable package type of station.
Oh, I thought it was one of the more like exclusive channels that you had to pay more for.
No, it was actually the opposite.
Really?
Because, back in those days and prior to those days, Disney Channel was usually considered like a premium channel, like HBO.
Oh, okay.
But
Interesting.
XD was like more like, the common stuff that you don't pay extra for.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was starting to lament that, now we have to go through like this again, and even though it's not standalone, but also there's a continual story, I guess. Okay, I can see the like, it's what it is. It's now I'm fine with the fact that I didn't even think of this until now. There, at least up until episode 5, there's no kill. There's a no kill rule, which that's I think that's classic like children's cartoons, because they don't want the heroes to kill, or else the kids are going to start.
And plus, this is on Disney XD, where there isn't really cartoons like for over 14 or whatever.
Yeah, not at this point. Gargoyles is way long out, like off of the air at that point. I don't know if that was. Although I think it was Disney Channel. Either way, but that again, this is not just exclusive to this series, but it is just funny thinking of the most recent thing of Tron Legacy, where there was no talk of, okay, we're de-resing a bunch of people. And in this, it's like, as programs, he's making an effort to, and I think for the reasons that they've explained in the universe, which I do actually appreciate, is he's very, like, other than like, he's going pacifistic in a way of he's trying not to, because it would almost bring his cause down if he started to kill people, or if he started to de-res people, excuse me.
Yeah, and that's a good message in general, not just for young people.
Yeah, which is near impossible, if not just impossible in the real world, to do something like that. Like, he's still an activist in a way. He's still like the rebel. He's still the renegade, as they call him. He's still a freedom fighter in this case, and it makes sense why he doesn't, just off his antagonists, of course, or his rivals.
Oh, and then for those who don't know, because I'm sure there's some people listening to this who are going into this knowing there's going to be spoilers, but at the same time have never seen this series before. We're talking about Beck, who is essentially the protagonist.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
And he's assuming the role, almost like if Robin in Dark Knight Rises, took on the mantle of Batman or Nightwing or whatever in like a tale that takes place after it Rises.
Can I put forward actually another movie that I was thinking of as well? The Mask of Zorro.
Oh,
I actually thought more of that.
Well, what's funny about that is, even though they were popular at the time they came out, I had never watched any of those movies. And I started watching the first one about 3 months ago, and I was going to finish it, but it got lost in my shuffle. So maybe I'll remember now to go back. So I've only seen half of the first movie. So I was not aware that was a thing.
Yeah, shout out to that movie. That movie is awesome. Like it is also like a, oh, this is clearly a Batman. Like that whole first pilot, I say the first pilot, yeah, just the 30-minute pilot was giving me Mask of Zorro vibes of just like, oh, it's if Tron is Antonio Banderas, is Anthony Hopkins, and then Beck is Antonio Banderas. This is a lot of fun, and they both kind of have similar things of revolutions and wanting to kick the establishment out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that kind of fit, but you're sort of not exactly, but leading me into like another point I wanted to bring up, which is going back to when this first came out on Disney XD. I knew of the channel, but I had never watched it in my life because there was nothing on that channel for me. But I showed up to watch this when it premiered. And because it was Disney XD and because I knew of other series that were on that station, like, no, not exactly, but a little bit like when Clone Wars 3D came out, I'm expecting this to cater to 7 to 10-year-olds, And I knew that. Oh, just like off mic, we were talking about the 2D animated Buzz Lightyear and what was it in Space Rangers?
Yeah, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
Yeah, I also watched that when it premiered on whatever channel it premiered on, and I went into that expecting it to be for that demo, and that show more or less was, when it came out. And so I sort of had those expectations going into Tron Uprising. And then once I actually watched the pilot special, whatever it is, I remember thinking, wow, I don't think this is just for 10 and under. This is wow. I was like, how is this on XD during after school times or something? It immediately reminded me of Clone Wars as it would progress, the 3D animated series, like beyond season 1, where there was a lot more adult type themes and things going on. And I was shocked at the time that this show felt that way out the gate and then in episodes to come. I only watched like the first 3 or 4 episodes originally when they aired, and then I was probably watching Game of Thrones or something, or Walking Dead instead after that. But I just remember just being shocked that this doesn't. And then now seeing 5 episodes, I continue to be shocked that, and I think this is probably part of the reason why it wasn't that successful, was because it wasn't catering to kids per se. And it was kind of catering to, sort of broadly speaking, all ages, except the older people probably dismissed it outright because it was on Disney XD. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, of course. Once again, animation is, at least in, I guess, both of our countries, is looked down upon as being for kids. And just overlook, Simpsons or Family Guy as just like, oh, it's fine. It's for us comedy people.
This reminds me of a conversation you and I have had it once or twice prior, on pod or off pod or both. Which, remember when I was talking about in the past about how original Clone or 3D Clone Wars, and what was the other example that was newer? Where I said, Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy. Like, I felt like they had like a similar sort of playbook, which is the early episodes feel more geared towards the youthful audience.
I recall, and you're going to say This is the opposite.
Well, it's the opposite.
Okay, sorry, no, not
but
opposite.
We talked before about how the strategy was, you get it in, like to get it approved by the studio. Hey, we got this show for kids. It's going to be so much fun. And it uses the Star Wars or Star Trek IP. But then, after they get past some episodes, the creators are like, now let's make the show we really want to make. And like they almost completely forget about kids, and then they just start making what they want to make. So, and then we discussed before that, that's probably very likely or possibly what their strategy was. Like, we'll just, give them what they want to get the contract to make the episodes, but then we'll like start, pushing the envelope a little bit. Except this show skips the kid part and starts right away with like the more heady adult stuff. And I don't just mean like violence or cussing or anything, or deaths out of the gate, but I mean like there's a lot of like adult concepts to ponder.
It just immediately goes straight for revolution or at least the rise of the common man saying no more.
Right. If this was like a typical cartoon, especially like in the 80s, it would be more like, oh, we had the Smurf Village and Gargamel is like this tyrant. And like, oh, see, it would be revolution or rebellion, but it would be like in a kid sense. But this is not that. This is just like, no, this is what it, like this is Che Guevara or Andor, Cassian Andor or whatever. It goes right to it. And especially when I had only seen the first episode or two, I found it extremely appealing. I was all in. But ultimately, again, I think that's why, it didn't get seen by who they were. And with Prodigy, the thing that's similar is if an adult would have checked it out of curiosity, like me and Carl did initially, you watch the first 3 episodes and you're like, oh, this is like a kid show. I guess, whatever. And luckily we both went back to it and realized, this becomes a real show.
Let me maybe rescind what I said earlier. Okay, so it's not just in that, okay, we're getting typical, like, episodic or serialized television here. Okay, let me rescind. I'm sorry, that's not true, because the writers and directors, I think, have a clear goal in mind and they have a clear like objective they're going towards. And I can almost say, like, when I say not so much filler, I won't say that, but I think there's a lot of world building going on within each episode. And the best part, but the one part that they probably are going into is different aspects of the revolution, which I definitely do enjoy. So I rescind that. Maybe I came out the gate a little too like hot. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry.
I know I don't completely dismiss what you were saying earlier, because in my mind, because I've watched it, I knew there was, you're right, there is world building, there is that, but I was going to say the same thing as well, and I'll say it now, that how you were describing how like the later episodes kind of feel like smaller scale, like I was going to say, yes, they do feel like filler in a sense, and I always have to define this whenever I say that word on a podcast, because there's 2 definitions of filler, and they're related, but they're not exactly the same. And sometimes people hear one version or the other and don't consider the other. And so, especially people who watch anime, whenever they hear filler, they usually, in their mind, hear this is not like, it's not in the manga. They're filling time so the animators can catch up.
Or the writer can catch up.
Yeah, but before anime was like a mainstay in the West, or at least in American culture, when we said filler, we just meant, those episodes that cost a lot less money to produce, simpler stories. There's not going to be like a major event that affects like the characters individually or their arcs or anything. So either definition, but either way, either one could loosely apply to what I'm saying about this. Like, it's not that there's nothing happening or anything, but like you said, if this would have been like 6 episodes a year or something like that, then we definitely wouldn't get the filler story elements.
Oh no, there's no fat. It's all lean.
I'm not saying they're bad, and it does add world building, because you don't think about like the power plants and whatnot that control this grid or anything. But definitely that would have been skipped.
But for a Tron fan, that's great because they want to see more of this world.
Yeah.
Can I also give an example, for instance? And another, like, I don't want to go here too early, but with Beck, one of the things that also is going to work in their favor, I do hope what I want to see in the next, like, 10 episodes or so is progression. This is the cool thing about these shows, is that you can definitely do character progression of this. Because what I like about Beck from the very start is he does have a natural like athleticism or like fighter spirit to him, where he definitely you can see what Tron sees in him. There's a reason, like, oh no, this guy has like some skill. Like he is the Luke Skywalker in that there is potential in him to be this like freedom fighter. And that's what I'm excited to see of, like Mask of Zorro, where we're going to see like a character who already has a lot of skill become even greater over the course of a season. Implausible of like, that's how long you can regain skills in real life, whatever. It doesn't matter. Suspension of disbelief here. But I definitely want to see Beck be able to handle more people. And when we're in episode 5, okay, in Disney Plus order, it's 5, but I know it's 4 from what you were saying, broadcast order. I want to see Beck be able to take on multiple guys, not kill, just take on multiple guys and be able to hold his own and even outclass the lady antagonist. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but like I want him to be able to like best her.
I think her name is Paige, weirdly, because it doesn't sound like
there you go,
a Tron program name, but I think it's Paige, I believe.
Oh, good name. But like I want to see him like be on her level or like supersede her in a way, or like over exceed her. Excuse me. Not for just for like, because that's the kind of progression I want to see with this character, especially like if he's being trained by Tron. And so, but yeah, immediately I'll like starting off, when he is just like going like full on acrobatic and just doing all these like cool again, that's the budget for that pilot. And then in that episode 5 where it almost seems like they're struggling to fight a bunch of a whole group of people. And it's like, oh, but in the first episode, obviously going back, or at least the pilot, it looked like he was able to hold his own against a few of them. Now, you can obviously say, like, what they do show often is that Beck does have, like, some, there is still some, like, what is it? He's still, like, not unsure, but he's still, like, there's still, like, weaknesses or flaws that he has to overcome in a way. Like, there's still times where he does get caught off guard. So maybe I'm speaking out of line there, but I definitely noticed something of like.
Well, but you're definitely describing something that is extremely common in anime series, especially. I always forget the words, but
oh yeah, the Japanese words.
No, but I mean how there's this for like the 10 and unders. There's this for like the middle school age. There's this for the high school age.
Oh yeah, like shonen is one.
Yeah, shonen. I think shonen is the one I'm trying to think of.
Would you count this as shonen? I get yeah.
Well, no, I'm not saying this is shonen, although it probably would be if this was a Japanese series.
Yes,
but it's so common if you watch shonen, especially anime, that you do have a character exactly what you described. Like yes, they're very capable out the gate, but over time they level up.
Oh yeah,
and that is so common in shonen stuff, but it's also the same blueprint with Airbender and with Korra. And I was already thinking about this week.
Be surprised,
because I have been mainlining episodes of Demon Slayer because I was supposed to see the movie like today or this weekend or something. And I had only originally watched 8 episodes back when it first came out. And so I've been binging. And of course it follows that exact formula, as does One Piece anime, etc., 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 Dragon Ball, etc. And so one would think that if this had multiple seasons, that's the way it would go. Or maybe even these 19 episodes. And when you think about how characters or protagonists level up in anime, it's always a little bit far-fetched, especially if there's not magic in that universe.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, I just do like 1,000 more push-ups and, like thousands of more hours of meditation. And I channel my Shi or something, whatever it's called in that series you're watching. So it's always a little bit weirdly far-fetched when they start getting near superpowers. But with a world like Tron where they're programs, it would just make sense.
I know Kung Fu.
Like they could just start upgrading and like having special abilities or something. Like, you always have to come up with a reason why you have superheroes in a real world setting. Is it they're mutants? Are there metahumans? What? But in Tron, it would just make sense if there was some who appeared to have superpowers because they're programs.
I know Kung Fu
easily evolve. Yes, and like the Matrix. And I'm going to skip to something else that maybe should be later in the conversation, but it's on my mind now. So another thing I was wondering the first time I watched this, and again when I was watching it recently for this discussion, was as I'm watching it, I kept being unsure. Is this post-Tron Legacy? Is this pre-Tron Legacy? Did you have any difficulty with that?
Oh, no, I immediately knew this was a prequel. I say prequel, but like in between.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention, but why was it so clear to you?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm so unsure now of just like it. I guess the way they presented the information immediately, like voiceover by Tron was, just so easy to follow. Maybe because I had Legacy on the mind, but I'm like, no, this is clearly a prequel. Which the difficulty with that, not the problem, I'll say just at least the obstacle and the hurdle that they have to deal with is, spoilers. We know that Clue is going to become the Rinzler. Excuse me. I almost said his name. I'm not going to say his name, but
not
the
Clue.
Rinzler, right? Is it not Clue? Oh, Tron. Sorry. Pardon me. Thank you. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
You caught me there. Pardon me. Thank you. I rescind that. I retract that statement. But yeah, by the end of this maybe not this season, excuse me. Oh, okay. It's only one season. Series. It is presumed, whether it's by the end of the series or at least off screen, Tron, thank you, becomes the Rinzler. Because, this will then lead into Legacy. And it almost makes this revolution a moot point of like, it's kind of similar to when we did forgive me, I forget the episode's name, but that Strange New Worlds episode where it was like a Elseworlds What If over Balance of Terror of the Toss episode. Forgive me, I forget what
it's a play on Balance of Terror, but it's the finale of season 1, Strange New Worlds.
Thank you. What like that was a whole what was the point of doing that in universe? And then I figured out why, because it's
like a cautionary tale or something.
It's a cautionary. Yeah, it's cautionary. It's for specifically the character of.
Yeah, it's like a Christmas
Pike.
Carol, Dickens.
I kept wanting to say Kirk, but so why do we go back and watch or read the Christmas Carol? So for this, I know maybe a certain editor is going to be in my brain, or best friend of mine is going to be in my brain saying like, well, yeah, what is the point to watch this show if there's a foregone conclusion of what happens if this is a prequel to that?
And it's going to be interesting for me to think about this. I mean, I was already going to think about this before you brought it up, but it's going to be interesting for me to think about this and see how the show develops over 19 episodes, because which happens on a lot of series, especially animated series. You will oftentimes see writers find their groove along the way of producing individual episodes of a new series, and you'll find them like hone it in and start to gain direction of storytelling. It'll be interesting to see if that happens within these 19 episodes or not, because what you just described is exactly what was one of the biggest hurdles for people, whether they were old fans of Star Wars or newer fans of Star Wars. It was something that was causing them not to be excited about Andor, or just the idea or concept of Andor.
Oh, I heard
the same exact thing so many times. Like, I don't want to watch it right now, or one day maybe. Because, what's going to be the point? Like, we already know what's going to happen, or where we have to end up. And that is true. But anyone who's watched the whole series, or even just season 1
of Andor,
sorry,
then
you already know that they succeed. They succeed in
Spoilers.
not breaking canon, but also making you care about something you didn't know to care about.
Yeah, and I'm front loading this now, just because I'm not saying that as, like I said, as an obstacle or as a negative. I'm just like, I'm gonna watch this regardless, but I know for other people, yeah, what is the point? Well, that's good story. That's storytelling. If it's compelling, if it draws you in, then you're gonna want to see it. And that pilot drew me in of like, Beck could die by the end of episode 19, and I still wouldn't. I'd still watch anyways.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, I agree
Because
with that. But
it just has such a very high pace intensity to it that makes me want to keep watching the pilot. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with that. But going back to what I started with, which was, I'm sort of skipping to the end of the conversation. I'm still on that. No, it's fine. And knowing what I know about this show so far, which we've already discussed, what we know at this point about, we already know it's 19 episodes and there's no more, et cetera, et cetera. I have two potential laments that I'm worried about by the time I get to the end of these 19 episodes. And that is, first of all, my understanding is, when they completed the 19 episodes, yes, they completed the season as they expected to, but they did not know they were going to get canceled. I mean, they didn't know for sure they're going to get renewed, but they didn't know for sure they're going to get canceled. So there may be, things yet to happen.
I see.
That were planned that never got to be. So let's pretend, oh, yes, the plan is eventually Beck's going to die. Or the plan is we're going to see Tron turn into, I want to call him the Rizzler, but
that's
Rensler,
exactly.
Yeah. Maybe that was always the plan for the end of the show, but because the show sort of ended untimely, maybe we don't even get to either of those events, even if they were intended. So that's part of my lament. And my second lament is like things that have happened in Star Wars especially, and other things that I can't think of right now. Obviously, we're greatly inspired to do all these Tron movies and series because of the upcoming third film. Because this show didn't really make that much of an impact, with viewer response or viewership, I see them doing one of two things with the third movie. Completely pretending like none of this ever happened in this series, even though this was designed to be canonical. Will they just completely dismiss it because there's not really a group of hardcore Uprising fans that I'm aware of out there, so therefore they dismiss it? Or option two is they don't dismiss it, but they don't have to acknowledge it either. So that's another route they could go.
Or option three.
Okay.
This is the sequel to and the ending for that series, or this series. As in, this also, while it's its own film, it also integrates stuff from the series.
Oh, yes, correct. That seems not very likely to me, but yes, of course.
Long shot. If that's the case, I should probably get a lottery ticket, because then I might be cracked or something. Check myself into a hospital.
Maybe we'll get an Easter egg.
That's what I hope.
Like things that are not pertinent to the plot, but you go, oh, for you guys who watched Uprising, here's a little nugget to you. Kind of like what they did with Rogue One.
I knew you were going to say that, where the ghost is there, right? Or whatever the rebel ship is.
Yeah, the first one was the ghost that we see briefly, blink and you'll miss it, during the climactic space battle. There is Chopper, the droid, who passes through the background at one point on Yavin 4. And then if you listen to the PA as they're about to set off later in the movie from Yavin 4, you hear over the PA something like, General Syndulla, report to landing bay or whatever. And so you hear that audio reference to a character in Rebels. Anyway, so with my laments, the two I listed plus the one you added, I would really like and hope it's the second or third option, which is just ignore this but not step over it, or Easter egg, or actually fold something in. If they completely decanonize by going completely against things established in this little series, it's not the end of the world, but I just wish it didn't have to be that way.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm still going to like the movie if it's a good movie. And I'm still going to like it to some extent, even if it's a bad movie, just because it's a Tron movie. And whoever the official particulars are who put that thing together, I'm sure they put their heart into it, even if it turns out to be a bad movie.
Or it turns out that Jared Leto's character is back. And he's been Rinslered.
That would be completely insane if they did like what they've done in Star Wars universe, take a lot of originally animated characters and brought them into live action. That makes sense for the current slate or modern era of Disney Plus, but that would be bananas if they did something like that.
Dude, that honestly, like, that's not like, that's far out there, and that basically is just copying what they did with Tron to Rinsler in Legacy. But like, yeah, if they did that, like, I don't know if Leto's character has been announced as what his name is, but like, if that is Beck, that's kind of a far cry of what happened, and like what the hey happened between Legacy, Uprising, Legacy, and then Ares. But
at the very least, there's probably written in like a 15-year time gap or something. I don't know. Or maybe 10 to 15-year time gap. I'm guessing.
Well, anyway, that's my speculation, and hopefully I'm right, and if I'm wrong, well, I'm wrong.
Oh, and the other thing I'm unclear about, let's forget about the third movie. Let's pretend we're back at the time that this released originally.
2012, what a year.
Yeah, I think, and the show aired like 2012 through 2013.
I figured.
One season, of course. But anyway, okay, so yes, it is a prequel to Legacy, but when Tron is explained to Beck like what happened and why he's, rogue and whatnot, they sort of visually allude to the scene that we see in Tron Legacy where Clue goes rogue, goes bad himself against his creator, Flynn.
Yeah, that's right. And I wondered, even though it's Joe Trapeze, doing the composition, this time for this, or the score, for this series. I was wondering, I think they used a few of Daft Punk's tracks in the pilot, at least.
I didn't hear anything that was an actual track from the original score, but I heard a lot of sound-alikes.
Well, of Legacy, I mean, not so much the
Legacy. Yeah. I heard a lot of sound-alikes where, that's obviously that track, that's obviously that track, but it wasn't the actual.
Okay, I guess that's fair. I guess I was just having Daft Punk on the mind at that point. But
that's another separate lament I'll get back to later in this discussion.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
But, Tron in this series is explained to Beck what happened and why he's been incognito as Tron. And they show visually on screen something that looks similar to what we saw in Legacy when Flynn is explaining, what had happened with Clue. It looks like the same scene, except in Legacy, we see it as part of that scene, that flashback, that once Clue, mutinies or whatever, performs a coup, it seems like he takes or he converts Tron almost immediately. But I could be wrong, because maybe in Legacy there is a little bit of a time gap, even though it happens quickly on screen. Maybe there is a time gap. I'd have to go back to confirm that. But in this, obviously, we see the scene, except Tron is still Tron. I mean, he's still himself. And so I wasn't sure if there was a conflict there or not. And now I just realized I won't know unless I rewatch the scene from Legacy.
Can I throw another like wild speculation out here right now? This is for the series only. It's not for the next movie. Please don't turn out to be a Force Unleashed plot twist where if Darth Vader is if Beck is the secret apprentice to Tron / Darth Vader, and then it turns out it was just a pawn to get the Resistance out, and then have Clue come in as the Emperor and like smite them all. Don't do that. Just like call it like don't do that, please.
Wait, you said like Force Awakens?
No, Force Unleashed. Excuse me.
Oh, it's Force Unleashed, because that almost sounds like Phantom Menace or prequel trilogy in a way.
Sorta. I mean, what is the Force Unleashed?
I don't know the storyline exactly for Unleashed.
Oh,
so.
it's a story. I'll say that, but it was one like, oh yeah, it's canon. Like, no, it's not. But like, if you ever get a chance to play it, I highly recommend.
I wouldn't play it, but I'd watch like
playthrough. Not
a playthrough, but the one where they just put the cutscenes.
Oh yeah, together. Just the cutscenes. There you go. Yeah, I guess that works.
That I would probably watch. Yeah, that, even putting the comparison aside, I don't think that would be the way.
Not comparison, just hope that they don't go that direction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Put the comparison aside. I don't really want the story to go that way either, is what I'm trying to say. I just gotta say this to the listeners who know Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who in particular. I'm letting this play, and I was just at time code 28, 22-ish on the first episode, the special titled Beck's Beginning.
Pilot, whatever you want to call it.
And there's some clashing of the memory discs, and they use a very interesting light effect when they're hitting. For those who know the opening title sequence of Doctor Who from 81 to approximately 85, 86, that weird prism star effect, kind of like Dark Side of the Moon cover, they use that, and it just, it looked like classic Doctor Who in Tron Uprising. Anyway, that's for the MHC listeners out there.
Can I go in a direction if you don't mind?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we talk about the art style of this show?
Yes, that was on my bullet points for sure.
Excellent. Okay, go ahead and cook.
Oh, okay. You're like, let me go in the direction. I hand it to you. Okay.
Okay.
I definitely wanted to talk about this, which is when I first saw this in 2012, that was another thing that completely blew me away with the look of the series, the animation, the quality of, because obviously it's primarily 3D, although I believe maybe the character models, while digital, were produced in 2D. But anyway, the look of the series, for being something that's CG heavy, looks like, at the time, looked as groundbreaking and unique as in modern times, present day, the animation in the animated Spider-Man movies, the animation especially in the Arcane series on Netflix, and to a lesser extent, I guess, the animation in K-pop Demon Hunters, which is all three of those, but especially the first two I mentioned. Like, nothing else looks like that in 3D animation. Like, they are so their own unique look and style. Yes, you could argue Clone Wars has its own unique style, but that's more stylistically different, but not necessarily groundbreaking. but this was like those modern shows, except at the time, and I was completely floored. I love the way the characters, the character models, the physiques, how they're kind of elongated. It just works for some reason for me, and I guess they were inspired by the look of character models in the old 90s animated series Eon Flux.
Dang it, you were... Oh, I was hoping that you didn't say, because I was going to bring that one up, and... Oh, crap. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But absolutely phenomenal, so engaging. And not only that, but I like how when characters are just walking through a room or whatever, they have almost like a rotoscope quality to them. Not exactly. I mean, you can tell it's an algorithm that's repeating the perfect motion, so that's obviously not rotoscope. But it evokes, like in the Funimation cartoons like He-Man, where they would just walk across the screen.
Filmation, sorry.
Oh, yeah, Filmation. Yeah, not Funimation. Filmation. And they just had like this natural flow.
It don't exist anymore.
And you see a lot of that, except not just 2D side-scrolling, but like in a three-dimensional world. Like, I absolutely love it. One of the bad things, especially in early seasons of 3D Clone Wars, is... yes, of course, they're lower resolution because it was like 2007 or whatever. But even like, I think they would. Oh, they definitely used a lot more mocap later in Clone Wars, but early on, you don't necessarily see that. So the animation is not the most special when they're just walking or doing casual movements. But in this, the chef's kiss, as they say.
Yeah, I think that first episode, or the pilot, definitely leans into a lot of rotoscoping, especially with the fighting. I was definitely impressed with the fight sequences in that, at least the hand-to-hand combat stuff, or disc-on-disc action.
Yeah, while the whole 5 episodes look great, again, the first episode looks even better.
Yeah, it's funny. Usually, you almost want like a TV series to have like kind of SpongeBob, where it has a pilot, it's a pilot, but then it has a movie at the end. It's kind of funny how this starts off with like a special, and you almost want to see like a movie at the end of this, but we didn't get it in this case. So, as per usual, as my part of my usual shtick, as I bring to the table, ladies and gentlemen, those in between unaffiliated, animation services were provided by none other than Polygon Pictures. Controversial in some parts of the field of animation. I have found nothing so far. This is what have I seen? 3. This is now a 3-0 for them. They're batting like 3-0 right now.
What are the other ones that you've seen?
So the other 2 are the Godzilla Earth trilogy that we watched, which they created King Ghidorah and they broke their system, which is funny. The model broke the entire movie for that last one, and they also did Pacific Rim the Black, which I think is one of the better because I haven't seen the Berserk stuff that they do, which is, for infamous for a lot of people from 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, excuse me. But I think that Pacific Rim the Black was something that was, I wouldn't say redemption, but I think it's a lot more like, okay, I think this meets it in the middle where it's still CGI, but the 2D effects on the CGI, like cell shading, I think helps it like stand out, or at least, avoid any of the uncanny valleys with those CGI models.
Yes, and while it is, you just said it so well. While it is cell shading, oftentimes, especially in earlier years, when cell shading is done or has been utilized, it creates its own different kind of uncanny valley. But no, you're right. It works the way it's supposed to in this, where it is cell shading, but it doesn't take you out of it.
Oh, no, yeah, exactly. There's actually a few instances in the Coliseums with just quick shots of the crowd when they're cheering, jeering, or just, screaming, where I think it's hand animated. I don't think it's models, like 3D models. I think it's just 2D animation.
I believe so. Like I said, it may be digital, but I think there is hand-drawn 2D stuff here and there.
This looks great. I'm gobsmacked that this is 2012 and this is Polygon Pictures. Now, I don't know if it's just Polygon
Yeah,
Pictures.
no, I agree. I agree, though.
If the credits it said Polygon Pictures, probably Disney staff probably also help out. But holy crap, this was great. And yeah, you son of a gun, Eric, you got to Aeon Flux before me. I haven't seen the whole series, once again, through secondary pairs of eyes. But I have seen images of that series and very stark, very, very striking, very very European looking and very weird, but I mean that in a good way. And so I definitely was thinking back to that. And I think this style of animation or this art direction, I think really helps distinguish this from everything else at this point.
Oh yeah, especially up to this point.
Now at the same time, there were two things that this reminded me of, because any animation style will remind me of something going back to my childhood, excuse me. There was a series, I don't know if it was on JetX, this one was at least. It was called, I didn't watch as much, or at least I didn't catch as much on TV. It's called Dragon Booster. And it was all CGI as well, and there was cell shading to it. It basically was these dragon riders in this futuristic city, where they rode these kind of more Komodo dragon. Excuse me, it was more Komodo dragon style rather than Koala dragon. I want to see that now, but no, Komodo dragon style. I don't know if they had wings or not, but yeah, they would basically these guys would just be on top of riding dragons, and they went each week to foil the plans of the dastardly evildoers. The same company later makes this other series later on called Stormhawks, which I believe aired on JetX internationally, where instead of dragons this time they're on these motorcycles that don't do card games, unfortunately, but instead sprout wings. I say sprout, but there's wings to them, and they fly around this whole planet called Atmos, and they have crystal powered energy weapons, and they fight against the evil empire. And it was pretty awesome. And not the same thing, but I see similarities between this that had some cell shading as well to it, and this does as well. So I was like, oh, hey, I kind of see a connection there, but they obviously do something differently. Now, going forward, if I may, this this predates it, and I mean their art style and their art direction. Excuse me, I think it's art direction, not just style. Their art direction goes in a different way, or down a different avenue, a different path, but I was very much thinking of the Rooster Teeth series, Genlock, when I watched this as well, where I was like, oh, I think, or maybe the other way around, but yeah, Genlock, I don't know if they were inspired by this or they were just going in their own art direction, but I can see some tendrils here. But this one has, I guess that has some not faux, but that has some obviously anime influence to it, and then this does, of course, as well. This, though, yeah, it doesn't influence that, but this definitely feels more striking, and the world's a lot more more sleek and early stylish, perhaps. Not that one wasn't.
Yeah, and I had not heard of any of the three that you mentioned just now.
That's fine.
But I looked at images of all three of them, and I could definitely see a loose through line.
Okay, good.
Evolution or whatever.
That was the point.
Also, I'm reminded of some other modern series, or one modern, one not, because I remember SD Gundam was one of the first cell shaded series I'd seen, and it looked great at the time. But again, that would be all wrong if it was that type of cell shading in this series in particular. And Disney experimented with another version of cell shading that I kind of liked, but it was just missing the mark for me. And that was do you know what it's called? The short-lived Disney Star Wars animated series that came after Rebels.
Oh, Resistance.
Resistance.
Actually, I think, I could be wrong on this, Polygon Pictures might be responsible for SD Gundam Force. Rock on, by the way. Love that show.
Wow, that's crazy.
And they also, I believe, had a hand in Resistance. I could be wrong on that. I'd have to do my homework and double check that, or I also could just ask my guy in the chair over there.
So I also watched Resistance, when it came out.
Well, it's, necessary if you're a Star Wars fan.
Well, yeah, but I was okay with the first episode, but I quickly fell off it, like the whole show, like just because it kind of did what this series does, except it happened faster for me, which is okay. First episode, good enough. I'm invested, but then it quickly felt like, typical padding the serial arc or whatever.
I see. Okay.
Just kind of like, oh, okay.
Hey, hand over the cereal. I want my cereal today. Come on. Like, how am I supposed to, have breakfast?
But at the time, visually, I thought it looked so cool. And I was thinking, oh, I wish Clone Wars or Rebels looked like this. But when they brought back Clone Wars on Disney, when they produced new episodes.
Disney Plus, sorry.
And then continuing onward with Bad Batch, which basically takes place post Clone Wars, they took the old original 3D Clone Wars style, but they really refined it in the newer Disney Star Wars stuff, Clone Wars and Bad Batch, where once I started seeing that stuff, then I was like, nope, the Resistance stuff, I thought it looked cool visually. Nah. Now they've perfected the Clone Wars style. Because that stuff is absolutely phenomenal, even though it's the same art style. The cinematography, the shading, the lighting, the shadows. It's like when you see those video games and they're like, this has, what's the thing that everybody wants to have? Trace lighting or whatever?
Ray tracing.
It's like ray tracing except PS8 levels is what Bad Batch looks like.
Oh, 24K, got it.
It's not the K. It's like the depth of feel of like literally like the atmosphere. It doesn't feel like a CG world anymore. It actually feels like there's an atmosphere in the air. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have that sterile look that most digital things have, especially older stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad that Disney at least allowed the animation team, or just the team itself, like the writers and everybody else, to kind of experiment with this. Like this is, I haven't seen another show that looks like this kind of since, other than like maybe, like I mentioned, Genlock potentially, like that kind of like give me echoes. And maybe once Ruby RWBY switched over to the Mayan engine and later on stuff, maybe it kind of looks like that. Not fully, of course, like not as exaggerated.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, because I never watched that series, but I'm very familiar with what it looks like and everything like that. And I didn't know they upgraded the engine later.
Switched.
But the stuff that I've seen visually, that's what I was talking about earlier. Like that's when cell shading like takes you out of reality. Like it's its own cell shaded world. But this feels like it's meant to be, the grid or the Tron world.
Oh yeah. What I can at least, hopefully this comparison, that's toxic to do, but at least of the time, 4 other shows that were also CGI heavy. I say CGI, but like with CGI from the start was, and they all were really well written, but there was Transformers Prime, TMNT 2012, Beware the Batman, and Green Lantern the Animated Series. Now, all those had what I'm dubbed as like this. I don't know if they're the same animation
like
studio,
hybrid?
But you could say hybrid. But whatever, I don't know if it was the same in-house studio or if it was. I know there were like different. One was on Cartoon Network, one was on Nickelodeon. I get that, but I just mean I don't know like who was animating what. It all seemed like the animation direction was similar, and same with the art. Sorry, the art direction and the art style were almost similar. And that's a CGI series, or those 4 CGI series, or just series in general, I do not like the look of. I actually think that's my least favorite animation style or art direction in a series that you can do. I think it makes Reboot look really good.
Out of the ones you named, I've only seen Prime a little bit. Again, when that was new, the series, I thought it looked cool, but I wished that the character, or especially Transformer models, looked more like G1 style than trying to tie into the Michael Bay visual.
You know for a fact that wasn't happening at that point.
Yeah, but that, like, I was cool with the animation. I just wish they had gone with G1 looking styles.
That was that art direction was like a demand from Paramount. The top brass were saying no. More like the reason why Bumblebee doesn't talk in that series is literally because of the Bay series.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about animation, because it came on my screen, I mean, while there's many cool visuals, especially in episode one that happens later, I guess it's the second episode, I really like the look of that sort of nightclub, dance club. Not only the look and like the lights that are happening in there and everything, all that's cool. But there's that one scene where that character, I forget her name, she's a lesser, like, recurring female character, the one who cons Zed or whatever, that character.
Oh, voiced by Kate Mara.
Yes,
I don't know her name, but it's funny because Mandy Moore's character is named Mara. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
But there's one of the opening shots in that club or whatever is like sort of a slow zoom on, or maybe like a slow dolly zoom on this character who's like dancing, the female. Actually, now I see there's other shots similar of other females, but that one is early on in the scene. It just looks so cool. Like, I don't know if it's mocap. I don't know if it's just really cool, like traditional animated by hand or by algorithm, but it has a look that reminds me of rotoscoping and back in the day, like the 70s, late 70s or whatever. And like, it just looks, the way the female character is like dancing and swaying, it feels like something I would have seen in like a classic heavy metal movie or something.
Oh, that was that's what it was. Thank you. Yeah, heavy metal was another like art style I was thinking of, or art direction I was thinking of that was maybe an influence to this. Not fully, of course.
So, yeah, and again, like if someone did like a fan generated sizzle reel, like let's say 2 minutes of just showing cool visuals from the whole series, I'm sure people would just be like, "Oh my god, I gotta see this! I gotta see this!" And then you watch and you go, "Oh, okay." Not as exciting as the sizzle reel, but I need to look for fan edits like that later, because I feel like someone's done something really good with that.
Or do it yourself.
That's not going to happen. Maybe if I had a supercomputer, not literally a supercomputer, but maybe if I had a powerful computer, I would be more into video editing. But that's always been the bar of entry for me into that realm.
You'd be surprised with some softwares. Anyways, okay, let's talk about the characters. Let's talk about some of the other characters, because it's been a while since obviously we're like front loading this with like what we think of the art. And
this is going to be, because this is like a 4-part series, so to speak. I'm sure we'll get most of this out in episode 1.
Oh, of course,
of the 4-part series.
Yeah. So Beck, like from the start, like he's Elijah
Wood.
Yeah, by the way, that's another thing that's similar to Genlock, where they it's Disney, of course, but they brought the talent. I can understand why the show may have been a little expensive to produce, not just because of like some of this like maybe experimental 3D animation and cell shading potentially, but yeah, some of the actors, like I'm like, wow, you're I'd say honestly, I enjoyed Elijah Wood's performance. I'm enjoying it. It is funny because I think it's the same year or maybe previously. He had a very, very brief cameo in the same Rooster Teeth series, not series, but in the other Rooster Teeth well-known series, Red versus Blue. He played one of the AIs in that. Just very like minor role. Nobody would know about that. So it's funny to hear his voice. And funny, yeah, he played an AI in that, and he's playing a program in this. That's kind of, I didn't even think of that. That's funny.
Well, before you continue real quick, I'll just say you're right. There is a serious roster of talent, or like, you know, people known for being on screen in acting on screen. And while that is awesome, and certain ones stand out and are recognizable in a good way, I will say that many of these voices I did not recognize at all who they were when I was watching this show. And some was probably intentional by design, like the characters try to do a voice, like Paul Rubens, for instance. But Elijah Wood, I had no idea it was Elijah Wood. I just thought it was random generic voice actor. And I don't think he did badly or poorly, but I didn't necessarily like. Beck just sounded like any young male protagonist in an animated show.
And I think that's the point. If it sounds like an every person, I think that's what they're going for.
Okay, then so be it. Continue.
I was all right with that performance. And as for Beck himself, he's, well, being the protagonist, so he'll have the most like amount of story. I say amount, but I do wonder if they'll have a lot of story for him to do. And so it's the, I don't want to say typical, but it definitely does follow the path that is with all these other action shows or shonen shows, whatever you want to call it, where, yeah, he will have disagreements with his trainer or his teacher, and he has to, what is it? He has to be able to live the double life as well, where he has to, I kind of like that as well, where he has to like take time off of work.
Yeah, it's like a superhero aspect.
Oh, okay. Arrow was definitely on my mind, by the way, with the show as well, of like not either leading a revolution, or at least like, you know, you have failed the city, and or at least like, you know, being guardian of the city itself and righting the wrongs of past sins apparently that the city has made, or people within the city have made. So, okay, not the same series, obviously, but I was definitely getting vibes of vibrations of that.
Sure.
I am so happy. At least I think the one that I was so pleased with, and forgive me, you have to help me with his last name, but Clue himself. Sorry, Tron himself.
Yes.
I think I wanted more. I think I said in our legacy I wanted more of Bruce in the movie, and the same thing with what's her name, Lori. I would have loved for them to be in the film more, and so to have,
is Lori in this?
No, she's, well, okay. Fingers crossed. I hope she makes a cameo. I hope that,
because I was like, I didn't catch that anywhere, but that would be awesome.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Lori shows up, but having,
and I'm pretty sure his name is pronounced Box Lightner.
That's a fantastic and epic name. Can I just say that's awesome last name?
Bruce. His name is very Marvel Comics
alliterative. I literally thought the same thing.
Yeah, Bruce Box Lightner.
It's so cool. But either way, I am so happy that Bruce was, I guess, either not asked, but
1,000,000% agree on this.
They got him on the show. It's kind of similar to John Wesley Snipes in Snipes in the Flash TV show, where
if you call him Snips, I'm just going to think of Ahsoka, but okay.
John Wesley Snipes, right?
I thought it was John Wesley Snipes.
Is it Snipes? I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Either way, like, it's the actor from Dawson's Creek, but he was a Flash in like the 90s show, and then he has a guest appearance every now and then on the 2014 show, at least in the first season.
Oh, it's Ship.
It is Ship. Okay, John Wesley Ship. Pardon me. I'm sorry.
Cut me out, Caleb.
It's okay. But with Bruce, I'm happy that he is able to basically, like, as a star. I think he's the second build, so I'm glad he's the second build starring character in this. Even if he's not in here for every now and then, I'm still happy that he has a presence in here, because
he's like Christopher Reeve showing up in Smallville. Or, oh, this is gonna sound weird. I was gonna say this is one of the good things about back in the day, everyone smoking, because I'm pretty sure that lends itself to his very distinct voice, his natural voice.
Oh, it's so good. I love his like deep raspy voice.
And probably to an extent cigarettes as well for Lance Henriksen, I'm guessing.
I know Caleb's quarrel and or his ire with Henriksen. It's not unwarranted, by the way. He was also
like in his live action roles
I think if you recall, we had a discussion about the direction that he went down with choosing different roles. But I definitely enjoy his voice as Tesla. I think that's how you say it.
That's correct.
Great name. Reminds me of Kessler from Infamous. But he also plays similarly in the same year. He played had a cameo. I say cameo, but he had a small bit role in Legend of Korra as well, where he played a guy with electric Kali sticks called Lieutenant. I think his voice lends itself well to this Overlord Tesla. I say Overlord, but Captain. I think that was smart for them not to just have Clue being there. He is almost like the Darth Vader of the series, sort of.
Yeah, but or he's like the I was gonna say Thrawn, but I need to know more about his character before that
maybe
is actually true. What he actually is like, I don't even remember the character's name, even though he's important. His role working for Clue and in the show Tesla is very similar to a character who is important in the Andor series.
I see. Okay.
There's a character who has like a very similar role that he has to play.
If not Darth Vader, maybe overseeing stuff, but he also gets his head. So he's like a combination.
Like Krennic in Rogue One.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of Orso Krennic.
That's not who I was talking about in Andor, by the way. But
I didn't think. I didn't think so. But it's just like he reminds me of Krennic as well. But not that Krennic wouldn't get his hands dirty, but I mean, he only has one scene in Rogue One to really, with a blaster. But
what's also interesting about Tesla is even though his character model in the show is not him, it's not like we've talked before about like A-list, B-list actors being in video games and where they like 3D capture their faces. It's not that, obviously. Even though it is a cartoon animated character, exaggerated features, it kind of makes me think of him like in a funhouse mirror kind of way.
If you squint, you're like, okay, I can see it. Like there's
but other characters besides Tron, I mean the original Tron, none of them look like their real life counterparts at all.
Yeah, they're stand-ins.
Except for Lance Henriksen. It's almost like it's not a recreation, but it's like an homage, a loose homage.
Or like a caricature.
Yes, it is like a caricature, but with intention. I mean,
yeah. And, he doesn't get a lot of scenes every now. He's, the one, not even mustache truly a villain, but I feel like with the voice and even the design as well for that character, there is an intimidation presence that I'm like, oh yeah. And I love his dark side Omega beams that can almost have, I guess it's elasticity as well, but like just, I call them the Omega arms, where it can just, go in like different arcs and different direct. That's so this world, and I love it.
Yeah, and another thing about him, maybe he is like Thrawn. I mean, I'll have to take note. I don't know if he has like crazy strategic acumen or not, like Thrawn, but just the way he carries himself, just the way he's not impulsive like baddies are often in other things, the way he's restrained enough. He is a bit like Thrawn, like with just his presence and whatnot.
Yeah,
like, he definitely seems like a more logical thinking. Again, he's not like a hothead. He's not like Khan or something like that.
Only like when I say brutish, only in his fighting style. Like he's very aggressive. Like but that's when he gets to show off his skill.
But he's not like the classic baddies. Again, well, in the anime world, like Skeletor or Cobra Commander or whatever the baddie in original Thundercats is, but like where there are like blustery and
Mon
like
Ra or something
all over the place, something like that. Yeah, something like that. He's again more like Thrawn, more or like Sugar in No Country for Old Men. He's lurking, pondering. That's a much more interesting type of villain to me than the blustery kind.
Yeah, he's a lot more reserved.
Yes.
Like he does have a plan going, but he's also not too like. While he has been given instructions from Clue, he's still able to operate on his own, but he's not going out of his limits. Other than I guess what's the plan of have control, like take control of this area.
Yes, and let's talk about Zed for a second. Simply put, yes, I understand how he's designed and why as a character, but for you personally, annoying or not annoying?
It's okay. Traits? So I'll say this, at least now, I actually was, so he is that, I think, typical friend air quotes, because there does seem to be a friendship between him and Beck, but
they're definitely friends.
But later on, I can see a distance or a wedge be created because of the differences in now that Beck has the identity of Tron Legacy, wink. He now starts to become distant to his friends and his job. And that obviously leads to the classic, like, okay, what's going on here and why, like, hey, can you do me a favor? Only if you do this. And I can see the misunderstanding. But I did I was like, oh, this is like, okay, we're doing this early on. And it should have clued me in to be like, okay, well, they're going to immediately resolve it, which I was kind of disappointed by. I was interested to see if they would take Zed, and if they're still going to do this, where Zed does go down into we're creating a task force, a Suicide Squad to take out this Tron Legacy character.
What I was thinking now about potential for Zed's future in the series is, will he become like a Ronald Weasley, eventually ride or die for our protagonists, despite some differences about some things right now? Or will he be like Flash in Spider-Man comics, not the newly realized Flash, but the way Flash was traditionally, as like a lowercase antagonist or nemesis, a low-level nemesis for Beck? Is he going to become the eventual loyal follower, or is he going to have like a mild turn to the dark side?
To Spider-Man, he's either Miles Morales in newer stuff, or, even though Miles is his own person, I get that, or he's Harry Osborn in the Sam Raimi trilogy.
Okay, fine, yes.
That
is the question.
Where he starts off as indifferent, leads to, okay, this guy's making it worse for us, I'm going to join. Well, not join, but then he does something where Tron Legacy, like, maybe, what is it, like, is framed for murdering somebody, even though he hasn't murdered yet. But again, framed for it. And so he's like, this guy must be stopped. So he's going to, like in Spider-Man 2, he's going to, take off the mask, and it's like, oh, it's you. And then by
wait, who got framed in Legacy?
No, I'm saying, sorry, I'm calling Beck Tron Legacy as a joke.
Okay,
just like, because I think it makes sense in context, right? But
okay.
In the next few episodes, if there's a frame job like that, where it's like, Tron Beck killed somebody, well, didn't kill, but it was like, it's for forged evidence or whatever. Like, oh, see, he killed this person or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I understand now. I just wasn't sure about the Legacy thing.
And then Zed eventually becomes New Goblin, and dons and they fight. I don't know if that is, but I was interested to see, oh, he's going to now join the Suicide Squad to take on this. I'm kind of like where this is going. And then at least by episode, was it 4? Yeah, by episode, no, 5. That's what it was. Sorry. Yeah. During Identity, the Mara's the one, which makes sense. Mara's the one to kind of get him on the right path, I guess. I think put him back on the path of like, okay, listen, you can't do this, or else this is going to have like unforeseen consequences for yourself. And I agreed as well, because one, he is the hidden talent. Like he has a lot of talents that I didn't even realize in episode 1. I thought Beck was the one that was more of the tech genius, but he is the one that's funny that they're all pieces of technology, but like inside technology, he's the one that is good with machines as well, like Donatello.
And I'm also thinking of Anakin, but yeah.
That's another good, I guess, comparison. But I was with that device that he has, that weapon that he makes to demonstrate. That's a game changer. That's almost like forgive me for going there, but it almost reminds me of the weaponized light speed in Last Jedi, where it's like, that's insane to just create, like, to what is it, utilize the trail that light cycles make, and then basically create like a bomb or an explosive that follows the trail and then goes boom. Like that's
crazy. That's weirdly like a thing that, is part of the dynamics of the Dune universe. It's been a while since I mentioned that on a podcast.
Oh yeah, I know it has been a while since.
But the reason they don't rely much on beam weapons in the Dune universe, including the original book and movie, is because of their shield technology. If anyone was to hit someone with a beam weapon with their shield activated, then it would create like a minor like nuclear explosion.
Minor nuclear explosion
for both ends.
Yeah,
the person with the shield and the person who does the shooting.
Oh yeah, but like a knockback of some sort, and both go boom.
Yeah, like crossing the streams in Ghostbusters. Side note, interjection. Just because it was on screen, I thought it was interesting or weird.
Please.
So, there's a lot of Tron glyphs randomly all over the series, and most of it just kind of looks like gibberish, but there's this little view of an alley in the city in the 3rd episode, or Renegade Part 2, at 1608, or I'm sorry, 706 in the episode.
076.
And it looks clear that the glyphs, one sign says what looks like Easy Mart.
Oh yeah, EZ Mart.
Another one looks like it could either mean hotspot or hot pot.
Yeah, I think I noticed. Yeah, you're right. I recognize it. Yeah, that's right. I saw that.
And then this one, I have no idea what it is. It looks like TEMRK. I'm not sure what that would mean. I don't know, but I don't know what that means. But the other two, I just thought it was funny because I was like, oh, this actually looks like something. Temric. What could that be? It almost reminds me of like teamwork, but I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Zed, yeah. We'll see what happens. We're only 1/4 of the way at this point.
Yeah, right now his allegiance is still on the side of Mara. I'll say that. She's keeping him in. I say in line. That's not fair, but she's.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that he has a jealousy that's building.
Towards Beck or towards Tron Legacy?
The Renegade.
Okay.
The Renegade. Because obviously he doesn't know it's one and the same person.
Yep.
But he has a thing for Mara, and she's always
that's right.
talking about how cool, the Renegade is and this and that, and he's getting like, ugh, like, he's getting jealous of this Renegade.
Harump, harump, harump. Will you talk about somebody else than that dump?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she as well doesn't she'll have an episode to herself, or she'll be the focus of like the B plot, I guess, in one episode. Cause so far it has only been Zed who's kind of been the B plot, of these first few episodes, which is fine. There's nothing wrong. I just know that right now she does seem like just basically the stereotypical, girlfriend, who is like, oh, the alter ego is so handsome. Like,
well, no. That's Superman Clark Kent, Lois Lane.
Okay, depends on the version. I guess you're right. Like, depends on the version.
Well, yeah, but yes, depending on the version. But before Lois knows, obviously, the identity.
Yes,
Clark's always like, he's really smitten with her, and hey, what do you think? And you want to go out to dinner? Oh, what do you think?
Oh yeah, well, wow.
Oh yeah.
I should not call myself a Superman
fan. I'm sure he'd be okay with you hanging out.
Yes,
Whatever,
Cabot.
Clark.
Thank you. Yeah, no, you just ruined. You just like called out my being a Superman fan because I forgot about that. But yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends on the versions. But you're right. I feel like she'll have hidden depths other than like being again the emotional center point for like the this core group of trio or whatever of trying to keep things either maintaining the status quo during times of occupation.
Yeah. And just because I mentioned Superman, it was a little side note that I made that I wasn't sure was going to get mentioned, but I said Superman. So, the evil female antagonist.
Yes, I want to go to her next.
The evil Lynn, the Baroness.
That's a good direct reference.
Even though she's not really like those characters, but she plays that function in the dynamic.
I know a certain person that I'm going to give a name to.
But she is played by an actress who has done live action and other voice work. Emmanuel, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Chiqui. I don't know if it's French or what. But she plays the character who weirdly is named Paige.
Paige, right.
And this actress, she actually played Lana Lang in the recent Superman and Lois series, which I have not watched, and I haven't seen Lana Lang.
Oh yeah, no, it's wrapped up. I think it finished.
I know it finished recently,
a year or two ago. Yeah.
But yeah, she plays Lana Lang in that version.
I didn't see her in any other roles for her, by the way, just to give her fakes because I didn't see her as Lana Lang in that.
Yeah, but yeah.
Paige, right? So let's just on her Zuko. I definitely see her as a Zuko character from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think by the at some point in the series, whether it's like in the the non-existent second season or towards the end of episodes 19 or whatever, I think they're going to have her have a heel face turn. I think she's going to make a switch at one point.
That looks fairly obvious.
Yep.
One wonders if there could be a misdirection, but I doubt it.
Chicanery.
I doubt there's a misdirection there. It seems like that is very likely. Something I forgot to say about Zed when you were talking about how he can make these things like an inventor.
Machines, like Donatello.
I wonder, for Beck or the Renegade, will he become like the 007Q? Or will he be like Lucius in
Batman,
Nolan Batman? I don't know, but yeah, potentially.
By the way, it is only a matter of time before, and I'm surprised like nobody thought of this, but that's obviously because the writers cooked it up, of course, and nobody thought of it beforehand. Before Zed's Path Destroyer, I'm just going to call it, or the Trail Destroyer, excuse me. It's only a matter of time before that gets created, right? Like that's a big game changer.
Yeah, for sure. It'll become like the weapon in Crawl or Cruel.
Like the glaive?
Yeah. I couldn't remember what it was called. Maybe it'll be like the that.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess briefly on Paul Rubin's character, I forget his name.
I'll tell you in a moment.
Yep, comic relief. Like that's what you need. I'm actually glad they don't just have Paige be the only
Pavel,
thank you. I'm glad they don't have Paige. Pavel makes sense. Glad they don't have Paige just be the sole underling or like elite fighter or whatever, elite character there, or at least with a face. I'm glad Pavel exists. He's there to fulfill a role of being like the suck up and or the guy who's going to do everything he can, but at any moment he can't fight. He's pathetic and he will retreat at a moment's notice and give a excuse to say like, no, we're making a tactical retreat.
He's like a different version of Starscream in G1.
Absolutely. I don't foresee him pulling a Starscream personally. I think he's too...
Do you mean like have a mini coup? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to... I mean, he could. I'm not saying it's out of the question, but I don't immediately...
I doubt that. But personality-wise, when Starscream isn't cooing,
Yes. He's a suck up.
Yes.
A pathetic one at that. But I mean that in like a humorous way, and I think Rubens does bring some humor into that. Let's just quickly talk.
Yeah.
Or sorry, your thoughts. My bad. Sorry.
No. I didn't recognize those Rubens until after I watched the 5 episodes, and I know I lamented earlier that I couldn't hardly tell who any of these celebrities were just watching the series. But him, it makes sense because he is kind of a character voice person anyway.
Yep.
And he's a good pick. And
yeah.
So yeah, he was one of the more positive voice acting contributors.
And then I don't. Did you see a caricature or at least like almost a stand-in for Rubens as for the model, or no?
Mildly.
Okay.
But I need to look at his model again. Because I can't remember exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, of course.
It almost reminded me of whatever the antagonist is in Fifth Element.
Yeah, blanking on that one because
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I've not seen Fifth Element, so I have no idea.
Oh my god! Not anytime soon, but one day on ProgNeg, we got to do that.
Just briefly, what's his name? Lance Reddick's character. Just because he's focused for like 2 episodes.
Well, he's probably going to come back. I'm sure.
I hope so. I feel like
I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Cooking going on because he said spread the word. And it's a big thing of the series.
Quickly, because you reminded me of something I was wondering. Like, I kind of get it. Maybe you know better than me, or maybe you don't. But, with him, he has like a special armband. But one of Beck's initial friends, who, spoiler, gets derezzed like in
immediately
part 1, which is like episode 2. He also has like his own kind of armband. What do those mean? Or are they just like what are they called in when you buy DLC for a video game? Not a skin, but
cosmetic.
Yeah, is it just a cosmetic, which obviously, this symbolizes this or that, or is there something more to it? Just like how the memory disks obviously serve a function in this world.
Well, he's an ISO, isn't he?
Was he?
I thought he said he was because I think Beck notices that.
Oh wait, Reddick or Beck's friend?
I think Reddick is an ISO.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Is that what his armband meant?
I don't know if they're doing a play on you got to wear this armband to show how different you are.
Well, no, I think it's again like I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. I think
that's what I was thinking.
Well, yeah, I wasn't thinking political parties, but I'm saying I know what you were thinking.
More like oppressed parties.
Uh-huh.
Oppressed parties in occupied states.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
That.
I knew that's what you were thinking. But what I'm saying is more like when you have like a biker club or gang and they have like their jackets, or like the jackets in Greece.
No.
Yes, or the Thunderbirds or whatever.
I mean, maybe that's it, but
that's what I figured. That's what the armbands generally are for. But I wasn't sure if they had another function, like how the memory disk, holds some of your memories or something, or like how, what was it? I don't know how much Mandalorian you've seen, but how
3 episodes.
Eventually we see that Boba Fett's original armor, it has this thing where you can see all the people who previously owned the armor, like a ident tag or something. Is it just a cosmetic, or is it like an ident tag?
Like it's either that, it could be like a what is it, a movement thing? Like you're right, it could be like a resistance movement type thing, or like I said, oppressive population and occupied force.
Yeah, because Reddick's was a special one. Beck's friend who got offed, I think, was like a more common one. If these were cosmetics, like one was like a common and one was like a rare or super rare.
Oh, that's just loot.
Reddick's was like a rare or super rare, and his
it's all rarity stuff. Yeah. He once again, to go with the arrow illusions from the same year. He was reminding me of there's a character in that called Diggle, who also kind of becomes number 2 to the Green Arrow himself.
Oh yeah,
and brings him into like his quest, his crusade. Now he does that in this, but he does it differently. Obviously, I am wondering who the first person is going to be when I'm wondering who Tron Legacy's Beck's first secret keeper is going to be. That's not Tron and or the. I guess, was it the lady from that other city who sacrifices herself at the end of Identity? She doesn't count because she passes away, or dereses. So I don't know who's going to be, but I definitely hope that Reddick's character does return because, I honestly could see him as like another guy who joins the cause. Well, that's kind of obvious, but also dons the armor and maybe even impersonates. Like if Beck needs to be somewhere because. I forget this guy's name, but because he's kind of he's not lost. What's the term? But because he's now like a free man where everybody thinks he's dead, he can now impersonate Tron Legacy. So I think that could that would be if like Beck needs to be in two places at once, that could work potentially.
Again, a little step out because of what I saw on screen.
Please, why not?
Episode 3, which is Renegade Part 2 at 2018 or just before 2018.
Good year.
Zed and Mara, they're working in the garage or whatever where they work, and they have this PPE, like protective gear for doing their engineering job. And I guess you like activate it, and they get sort of like a visor and like these glove arm protectors, but they're like glowing lights. Again, the visual of it looks so 80s animated adult movie type heavy metal stuff. It looks so of that time, but through a modern lens, like 2012.
Thank you for reminding me, by the way. They did. I'm pleased that they brought some, not all. Maybe we'll see later on as well. They'll bring more in, but some of the guards look like they have the armor from, or at least they wear them from back from the first movie, and I appreciate that immensely.
100%. I was so glad. That's one thing I missed not seeing somewhere in Legacy, or even like a modernized version. I'm glad to see them in this at the very least. And they almost remind me of like the Red Guards, the Emperor's Guards.
I agree.
Star Wars. I mean, like they're fun because they're just kind of around, but we don't ever really see them fight or anything.
They look elite, basically. They look like, you don't really want to mess with them.
Yeah, like the Sardaukar in Dune.
Yeah,
but,
that's a good
Emperor,
illusion.
Which is the Emperor Sardaukar. Oh, wait a second. Did George Lucas anyway?
What?
It's weird. What's the name of the guy who's basically their boss at the garage?
Oh, I don't even know his name. I forgot his name as well. But he's I guess like he's.
I wonder is it Abel? Maybe
he's a very lenient boss. By the way, like there are a few times where I'm like, well, at least in these first 4 episodes, not including the pilot, I'm like, how are you not firing back, or at least like get like up his rear or something like that, or having steam coming out of your ears of like, Beck, where you be, man? Like, where you be, bud?
You wanted to be J.K. Simmons?
Not. He could get to that, but like, well, he's doing Tenzin by this point. But no. He's like, I'm just thinking like, he's very lenient. He's very like, I don't know, like a boss that I feel like everybody would want to have.
Oh yeah, kinda. But yeah, his name is Abel.
Thank you.
But what's weird about Abel?
So is his brother.
The character model looks like a Canadian. I think he's Canadian actor to me. And so I was wondering as I'm watching. Oh, is he the voice of this character? No, he's not. But I'm like, why does his character model look like him?
What I think he like somewhat looks like, he looks like the chef from Total Drama Island. Like a characterized version of that, I mean.
I don't know who that is. But
similar head, like similar face model, I mean.
Yeah, it's the face, even though it's different.
Yes.
Maybe it's the same actor, because I don't know the show you just spoke of. And let me see, is he Canadian or is he not?
I mean, if you give me a name, I might not know.
Oh, he's American. So the reason I thought he was Canadian is because, back when I was watching BSG 2003, he's a recurring character, not a regular, but a recurring character on that show. And there was so many faces I didn't recognize when that show was new. And I later discovered like practically all the faces I didn't recognize, most of them were, or many of them were Canadian. So then I just assume when I see some character and I don't really know them, but then I see them in multiple series, I think they're Canadian. So that's why I thought he was Canadian. Rick Worthy, he plays number 4 in BSG Revival. And he also played sort of like the headmaster, if anyone watched the show The Magicians. But if you look up Rick Worthy, I completely thought the character's face was based upon that actor. And so therefore I was thinking maybe he did the voice, but no, he does not. He just weirdly, and it does not look like the actual voice actor, but it does look like Rick Worthy. So I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but
deep pull. Holy crap.
Do you recognize his face? Or do you know what his face looks like, Rick Worthy?
I'll have to look it up later, but I will get back to you on that from that.
This doesn't need to be in the podcast, but, I'll see actors or real people who look like actors and vice versa, and it looks so clear to me, like the relation, just like Chris Carter and Godzuki. But
deep pull.
But sometimes I'll say these and it looks like so spot on to me, and people just go, no, I don't see it at all. And I'll ask another person, no, I don't see it either. And I'll just be like, how can multiple people not see this? It's Rick Worthy is able. But anyway, I'm sorry. Next.
Anything on his on the actor? On the character himself.
Oh, just what you said. I concur.
Do you think he'll be a secret keeper for Beck?
If he will be eventually, I think he'll be one of the last.
Do you okay? What do you think let's do an over/under of odd or even. How many people do you think that are live will know about? So I'm excluding the previous 2 guys, like the people at the end of Identity, or 3, I guess. Who do you think will be the secret keepers for Beck? That Tron is not included because he's the teacher.
Probably Mara, almost for sure.
Yep.
The character we were just talking about, the ISO, perhaps?
Yes. No, Lance Reddick's character.
Yes. Seems likely. And then Zed, it depends. If Zed goes evil, he won't learn till like the very end, just like what's his name? Peter's best friend in the Raimis.
Oh, Harry Osborn.
Yeah, it'll be like Harry Osborn, where he goes like so evil, and then he hates Spider-Man so much, but not necessarily
before, but sure.
Peter Parker. So if Zed goes evil, then that's the way it's going to go. If Zed stays good, then he'll for sure probably be one of the first people to learn.
I'm going to throw out a wild one, Paige.
Oh, yes. At some point, probably.
I don't know about secret keeper necessarily, but I feel like she won't sell him out. Like there's going to be, again, character development for her, or character progression, where she starts to like feel betrayed by Tesla, yes. Or he just like oversteps his boundaries.
Again, this show got cut off short.
Yep.
So let's pretend it was fully produced as intended by the creators.
Yep.
Then Paige, yes, but it may not be until she basically kind of gets turned into believing in the Renegade's cause, or in defying Clue and company.
Or doing something in between.
Yeah, but it would be interesting if, again, we pretend like this whole thing exists, intended story. It would be interesting if she did discover his true identity and still kept it a secret while still being more on the bad side.
That's an interesting character right there. That would be an interesting thing for that character to have to deal with.
Yeah, I agree.
You just reminded me of something. If Abel's like the last person to find out about Beck's identity, that actually reminds me of in the TV series Static Shock back in the early 2000s.
Wow, you know all these shows.
Dude,
I don't know if they're Canada specific or what.
No. Static Shock's WB. That was like prime WB back in the day.
Prime WB.
Yeah, man.
That's not a phrase I ever heard before.
That was a great show. So anyway, Static Shock has like 4 seasons, and then he has a dad, he has a sister. His mom was a emergency services worker, and she died during a riot that may or may not be the LA riots stand-in.
Sure.
His dad learns about his identity in the last 3 episodes of the series, and his sister never finds out. So I'm saying Abel is going to be the one that finds out like by the very end, or he's going to be the sister from Static Shock where he just never knows.
I see. Yeah, let's get to the last things we want to say before we kind of close it up.
Yeah, it's cool that they started off with the gladiatorial games early on, I guess. I don't know if
almost to be expected in a way. Although I'm not saying I want that like every other episode, but I hope that's not all we get to see at the games.
I agree. I'm expecting that they'll return in some form. I want highlight. I'm basically like, asking for highlight again.
Yeah, I was almost wondering if they were playing that, but it was like a different version of it.
No, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for them to bring it back. Like, why not?
No, what I want, what I would have wanted in Tron Legacy was they have the highlight. I forget what the scoop thing is called in the sport, but I want to see it used as a weapon.
A blunt weapon. That'd be hilarious.
No, I wasn't thinking blunt weapon, but I was thinking like a projectile weapon.
Oh, okay. We can still bonk
sort of like a version of, I don't know what you call it when you have the whole David and Goliath. What is it? A sling?
Oh, sling.
Yeah, like a Tron version of a sling.
Let's always throw it out.
A bunch of rebels with their highlight, whatever they're catching mitts, and just like tossing these little EMP grenades or something.
No matter which D&D character I always create, I always want them to have a sling for some stupid reason. Because of the meme, I guess, or for the joke.
I don't know the meme, but
it's more like the sling is one of the worst weapons in D&D, and so it's just like a joke weapon.
Oh, I wasn't sure if the meme was like Jar Jar Binks or something.
More be Ewoks than Jar Jar Binks, because at least Ewoks hit stuff.
But didn't Jar Jar have a sling device?
Yeah, but did he hit anything? Accidentally, yes.
No, I mean hit himself.
I guess himself and a droid, I believe, on accident in the tank.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Last thing.
It would be out of nowhere if Sark from the first movie shows up.
Oh, that would be so cool. That, and or if Sark Jr., who's in obviously Tron Legacy.
Oh, fucking right, but I didn't even think of that.
If he had a program that we don't know or unaware of, who popped up.
Yo, so like a Cillian, not actually Cillian Murphy, but like stand-in Cillian Murphy.
Yeah. Like if he had a program, that would be cool.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I liked the direction of Identity, by the way. I'm glad they got that over with quickly. And it also ends so I think in the second episode, like the second, like, so Renegades Part 1, Beck asks, "Oh, like aren't I your friend?" or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And then which is so great that we ended it like this. We like included it, or in this, of like 5 episodes. In Identity, Tron goes, "Oh yeah, no, I'm your friend." And so that was a nice thing to tie, these 4 episodes together in a way. And I thought that was going to be at the end of it. So it's like, oh, delayed follow-up and payoff. Awesome. I like what you guys did there.
Is it weird how this has been a trope throughout television, especially long-running serialized or not necessarily serialized shows, where we have an episode or two where the protagonists or someone important completely forgets who they are?
Oh, of course. In this, though, I feel like it's justified. I feel like it makes sense.
Oh, yeah, of course. Again, a lot more things make sense in the Tron universe or the Grid universe specifically.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be the last thing I'm gonna say about 5 episodes in particular. One thing I did like, I guess it's in the episode Blackout, when they're on the bikes going through the tunnels, and then even outside the tunnels, we see objects and the tunnels themselves. And after the explosion happens, and there's sort of like whatever that plasma thing is that's like, shooting everywhere as they're trying to escape, like the Millennium Falcon in Return of the Jedi. And there's other things we see above ground from the tunnels that look like real world old school circuitry, like circuit boards.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
And we don't see stuff like that physically, like in the original Tron movie or Legacy, I don't think. But it reminded me of seeing Wreck-It Ralph, or the sequel, but in the first movie as well. How even though they're in a digital world, you'll see like their terminal station, where all the plugs, you'll see the physical plugs and things like that.
Yeah, as a surge protector.
Yeah. And that's like kind of the first time I've ever seen anything like that in
that was the same year, by the way. I just realized.
Oh, that's weird. But it's weird to me that movie came out that long ago, because it doesn't seem like it to me. But yeah, I wonder if we'll see more of this in the Tron universe going forward in this series, because there's things that look like actual physical objects that would exist inside a computer, and we haven't seen that before.
Yeah, Blackout, great action piece. Just of Tron's got to destroy, Tron Legacy has to destroy Drill, and then at the same time Zed's in a race, and that's where a bit of the division starts, especially when he takes his bike. That was a sick bike, by the way. So I know what you mean by he's probably going to be Q, or could be the Q.
You said Q, and my fuzzy brain was thinking TNG for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Wait a second,
yeah.
what?
That'd be cool. Hey, you never know. He could be.
He's going to be
omniscient, omnipresent.
Yes, exactly.
Omnipotent, Omni-Man. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, this is the last thing I'm going to bring up before we just kind of give our feelings for the first 5 episodes.
Yep.
So we had this discussion maybe on our Legacy talk, but at some point in this series on the podcast, you and I talked about, do these programs, is what we're seeing actually somehow manifesting? Like, is it like the Matrix world in which none of it's really happening? I mean, physically, but it is taking place in a program kind of way within the system, like all these people, vehicles, everything. Or is this representation of the Tron world in all the things that we've watched? Is it like the anime series Cells at Work, where obviously you don't have miniature microscopic Lilliputians like inhabiting your body and your blood and everything? It's just a metaphor. I don't know, because watching that scene I was just talking about, when there's sort of like the explosion, and was it Paige and Beck, or was it Beck and the other girl? But they're trying to escape the explosion.
It's Paige and Beck.
And I was like, so again, answer that question again. Is this more just like a metaphor, or taking place like in a non-physical world like the Matrix does in the movie? Or because I was just imagining when I saw that scene, like I was just imagining like, oh, when my power goes out, or if the internet goes down, I was picturing like little people in the fiber optic cable, and then like scrambling and like trying to get out of the way. It was just a weird thing. But yeah, I can't even remember where we landed when we discussed this before. Like, did they actually, like, are there actual programs with individual personalities, like little AIs coexisting in this Matrix world? Or is this all just sort of like a metaphor, like Cells at Work? And these things are just programs, but they're just being anamorphized.
Anthropomorphized.
That while we're watching the movies or the series. What say you?
My take is more it cuts out the bullcrap of ever going outside. They just stick in, like they just stay inside the program. It's kind of like if I was going to use Transformers as an example, but I actually have a better one. This is like if Assassin's Creed, the early ones, never had the present day segments. If they only ever had like the past segments as well, what you're playing the game as, that's that. It's kind of.
So you're saying that the real world, as it pertains to the grid, whether in the movies or the show,
yep,
the real world with humans and Flynn and everybody else is something completely out of their existence as far as they're concerned.
Yep.
Just like if our God or some other God exists out there, we could never confirm it because they're also outside of our bubble existing in a plane that we could never exist in our physical bodies.
Well, this is like Rogue One and what I presume is Andor, where there's no Force users as the protagonists in this. And in both Tron movies, it's been two users who have been the focus of those films. They're the outsiders who come into this world. This is now from the perspective of this world. So, like they go with whatever the program is. I say program, the programs, whatever the script tells them. Literally script, I guess. Basic, whatever will of whatever the loom of fate, whatever it's going on, keeps them moving, and then in comes Clue to take control. Whatever's going on there. Has nothing to do with the real world. The real world is second nature to these writers. They're not thinking of that. And I think I don't know, is the creator or one of the creators from the original Tron, is he, I believe he's an exclusive producer. Maybe not. I don't believe he is.
Yeah, he's like an executive producer.
Okay, good. He's an exclusive executive producer.
And he gets a writing credit on the new movie and Legacy, but I don't.
As you said, yeah.
Maybe it's just because they're reusing characters or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if that's like a Schuster
that's
Superman
true.
situation.
Yeah, I don't know if there's but they wouldn't they say like based off of, well, they have that based off of, it's right. What's the exclusive producer?
Yeah, all I know is it says writer and it says that he's credited.
I'm sure we can find an interview somewhere where they give like maybe they talk to the guy or somebody gets word from this guy. I'm not sure.
I'm going to close this out, and you'll have one more chance to bring up any one more thing if you want to.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
But I guess the reason I've always grappled with this idea, and not necessarily in canon or out of universe or anything, it's just in my head. I guess it's because I always think it's the opening scene of the original movie, and Flynn is at his workstation or whatever at home. And or maybe he's at work at night, but he's trying to infiltrate the system, right, to find the files he wants.
Yep. And
we see him on a terminal, like typing and doing hacker stuff, quote unquote.
Oh, I'm so glad they brought back the tanks. Sorry, just had to make that.
Oh yeah, they definitely got the tanks. Again, one or two drove by in Legacy, but
this time they're focused at least.
Yeah. Anyway, so we see him on the terminal. He's trying to hack the system or whatever. And then that's the first time we see like into the grid, and we see it's his program. Was that Clue? His program was named Clue, right?
Yeah.
I think it was Clue, who was in the tank, and he had Bit, who has a cameo Easter egg in the first episode. But anyway,
with Abel collecting old stuff.
And so I guess that's why I've always been stuck on this question since I was young, and I've never resolved it as an adult, which is all this just happening as code, ones and zeros inside the computer? And then through a director's vision, we are seeing it play out with things that look like people running around, being on the light cycles and, battling and politicking and having a red light district. Is it all an interpretation of ones and zeros being okay? It's like the Tesseract in Interstellar. Like humans have no way of fully comprehending the fourth dimension, but the Tesseract makes it possible.
Yes.
Is this all ones and zeros, but we're seeing it in a way that we can understand because we're not digital thinking machines? This is probably like a philosophical, rhetorical question.
Yeah.
But I cannot stop thinking about this. Like, there's no right answer, but I can't stop thinking about it.
Unless we see user interference somehow. I say interference, but users being implemented somehow. Like they do. I think they mention it. Like Tron mentions users, if I recall. So I'm sorry. I don't want to come across as like I don't like that. No. The idea is cool. That's why we have Tron. But I'm just the whole franchise. I mean, I'm saying I don't think the writers held themselves to that. We have to, keep this like whatever not timeline. It's not timeline. Sorry.
No, I don't. I don't think they did that either. It's just me pondering what I'm looking at.
Yeah, of course. And they're not dismissing of the rules as well. It's just I think they're trying to tell like a
and I don't think there are any firm rules that have been established.
Of course. Program story of program story. There
Another way to put it is it sort of like Peter Rabbit? Are you familiar with Peter Rabbit?
Been a long time. Also, I get him mixed up with Peter Cottontail as well.
Oh, okay. But Peter Rabbit, and I'm not an expert on Peter Rabbit, but it was very popular when I was growing up in England, the books and everything. And if I remember correctly, Peter Rabbit, the author, I think she was a woman, maybe. I guess she used to see the animals like outside her home or wherever she was. And so she imagined these stories, and, made the stories.
Same with Watership Down.
Yeah. And obviously the animals in Peter Rabbit or Watership Down are not sentient animals. They're obviously not sentient animals running around doing things and having motivations and sorrows. So she looked at the animals and then she came up with stories that would make sense with, watching them do animal things. So I guess when I think about Tron, sometimes I wonder, and again, there's no rules in the universe. This is just me thinking about it. Are these programs doing their job, whether they're in a video game or they're a tax program or they're the Clue program in the original movie? Are they ones and zeros doing what normal programs do inside a computer, the software? And then we are seeing a humanized version that makes sense. Because obviously if we just watch ones and zeros doing things, that would almost mean nothing to us. So we see them with characters and personalities and motivations and yada, yada, yada. Does any of this make sense?
It makes sense. I'm not going to retort back only because you left it as rhetorical in a way and just...
Well, it is. There's no way to define
postulating it. And I can't answer that question now, but maybe in the next few episodes that we do of this, I may have an answer.
Yeah, I suspect we won't get an answer.
Well, yeah.
And I'm not saying there needs to be a definitive answer. I guess I'm just wondering how you see it.
Of course.
Personally.
But we have plenty of other time to do that. Just not in this one.
Yes, and we have 3 more episodes.
Last Chads, for me, there was in Identity, I think there was a Ghost in the Shell reference, at least towards the end of that film. I like how they did the memory loss in this, where he whips back and is like, oh boy, like it's just like a sudden to him, which is nice, which I thought was really well done direction wise. But there's a point where that one character, that female character, like clad in white, which almost looks she was 2D, or at least she was hand drawn instead of a model, 3D model, excuse me. She she like descends as he's like looking up, and it reminds me of a shot from Ghost in the Shell 95 towards the end of the film. No spoilers. In the pilot, when Tesla and Beck go at it, towards the end when he has his Omega arms, there's a whole structure like that they go up on top of. I mentioned way earlier, but to bring it back, the unaired Avatar pilot for Last Airbender, excuse me, they had a sequence like that as well, where there was a whole like scaffolding or whatever, like a construction site, and they kind of fought in that as well. That goes a lot further with that, or that one is a lot more extensive in that kind of scaffolding area. This was only briefly, but I just want to say, like, oh yeah, kind of reminded me of that. And oh man, like I thought that Tesla was just going to be armless or at least handless for the remainder of the series, but they could fix the hands, or like fix a person. So yeah, he was able to have his hands back, which makes sense. Oh, yeah. And I'm making a bold statement here. I think this is at least the first episode, the pilot, is a lot more either hard hitting or like right out the gate of a revolution story than it was in Legend of Korra, book 1.
Oh, wow.
I'm going with that.
You mean like the beginning of Legend of Korra?
Just in that whole first book, because the first book does kind of have, and I guess, yeah, you were there for that as well with the first 2 episodes, but I think personally this one's a lot stronger with the revolution aspects of it, but it's reversed this time where, it's even funny how in a way, like, Beck taking up the Tron legacy, or at least the Tron's legacy, is kind of like Amon almost, but they're, 2 different people instead. And one's more righteous. Well, not okay. Well, Amon's righteous in a way, but you'll see what I mean. But either way, I think this one was a lot more strong, and I like this one more than the one in Korra.
Okay, this is officially my last. I have to make note of this. This is coming out of Wikipedia because I think this is all interesting.
That's funny.
So, director of the series is Charlie Bean.
He's been in all 5 episodes so far, so I wonder if he's going to just be the continuous director until the very 19th episode.
But it was his idea to go for, a distinct style of CG for the show.
Oh, a good art direction, and that's what keeps this, I think, fresh.
So he worked very closely with the art director, who was Alberto Mielgo, character designer Robert Valley. Robert Valley is the animation artist for the Gorillaz music videos.
Oh, okay.
So he's the character designer. And the director was working closely with a certain Daniel Simon, who was the lead vehicle designer on Tron Legacy.
Oh, nice.
And I want to say, we see a lot of unique vehicles in this, like the train and all different types of flying vehicles and boats and all. They all look pretty amazing in this movie.
Oh, hey, and by the way, sorry, you also get your light cycle from Tron.
Sort of. Tron Legacy.
Well, yeah, but don't they have like one of the original ones from the first one?
I'm confused because it looks identical to the one we saw in Tron Legacy.
Okay.
And then they call it the original.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Definitely not the original in the movie.
Okay, that's fair.
But I'm wondering if it's like Strange New Worlds or Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
Where this is the original. So this was even predating the original Tron movie one. In which case, it's like Enterprise and Strange New Worlds where people go, or Discovery, where people go, wait a second. If this predates it, why does it look more modern? Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
Shush.
Anyway. So maybe that's the explanation in canon. But that same Daniel Simon, who made all these amazing vehicles in this and Legacy, for this series, he actually won a Primetime Emmy Award for art direction.
Oh, no, I then,
and Primetime is important for those who don't know, because a lot of people consider the Primetime Emmy Awards the real Emmys, and the daytime ones sort of like the fake or honorable mention Emmys.
Yeah, of course.
So this show actually got a Primetime Emmy for art direction.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Wonder if Korra was also up for one.
And I don't know if that's animation specific. I don't know. I have to look that up. If that applies to like any art direction.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's one thing if it's just animated things compete for this. It's another thing entirely if it's live action and everything competes in this category.
Hey, have a more chance of success versus in the Oscars.
Because it doesn't say best animated series or anything like that. It just says art direction.
Well, I think there is like a best, or not best, but I think there is like an award for,
Well, what I mean is it's not clarified in Wikipedia.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's Wikipedia. So.
But yeah, this show won an Emmy, a primetime Emmy.
Nice. Where's Sean? He should know this, even though he doesn't. He only does the Oscars.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is not his thing. But I was shocked. I did not expect to see that as I was going.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's some applause right there. Nice job, guys.
Yeah. Wow.
So gets an Emmy and then gets canceled. What the fuck?
Hey, that's happened to. I mean, not for that category, but that's happened to a lot of shows.
Yeah,
canceled
exactly.
Early.
Meanwhile, all the Firefly heads.
That's not.
Sorry, browncoats? No. Yeah, browncoats.
Yeah, browncoats, but let's not. Anyway, we're not really going to do a rating because that's like super hard. Not only because it's 5 episodes, but because this is so serialized and it's ongoing story. We don't really know, but we can give the red light, green light seems a little bit too simplistic. How about letter grade, like in school, for the first 5 episodes? Because obviously, if we just do the first episode, I think we already know what we're going to do for that.
Is S higher than an A in this case?
Yes, if you want to use an S, it is higher than an A.
Okay,
but we're grouping all together.
Yep.
The 5 episodes. We're not going one by one.
Well, you can go first, my friend.
I think if I lob them all together, I'm running right now like a B plus. That's where I am.
I'm around there. I'd more say, given what. Okay. At the time, I didn't know it was going to be 19 episodes and then canned.
Oh, you thought it was like 19 planned?
Yeah. Well, okay, but you don't know that when, in 2012, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't, unless I like looked it up online, like on Wikipedia.
Right. Or, they could have got canceled, but in a different scenario, they could have known, okay, these are your last 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Tie up whatever you want. But I don't think they had that knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know if it's similar to like the Vision of Escaflowne, where they're like, crap, we can only do 26 episodes over the 39 we wanted. So, but that was from the start, I think. I think they knew from the start at least, okay, we only have 26, so we have to condense a lot of stuff together.
I think, like I said earlier in the podcast, and this is just me guessing out of thin air, I think they knew they had 18, a special plus 18.
Right. Thank you.
And they didn't know for sure they would get renewed, but they probably thought it was more likely than not. That's just me speculating based on nothing.
I'm trying to think if my younger self in 2012 would have watched this, like just out of high school. He's not like, animation ew or anything like that. He likes action.
You're talking about yourself in the third person?
Yeah, I'm talking about himself in third person past self, because like 2025 self is different than 2012 self.
I wasn't who I was 1 minute ago in this conversation.
Same thing, but I still feel like there's, there's still like, I'm still holding on to some of those values from, a minute ago.
Yeah, I'm not completely different.
Maybe I don't know. I feel, I have no idea, but because I want to give it the, like, I'm going to continue to watch, but I'm also doing that out of compliance of, but genuinely, I do like this. I do like this. I was thinking like B plus, A minus. Yeah, I'm going to go with B plus, A minus for some, just maybe because that first episode, that special is very like, just on its own. If you were just to tell somebody like, okay, watch the pilot and that's it. I definitely would. That's the big, like, okay, big entry point of, okay, litmus test of getting somebody to be like, oh, I want to watch more. And that's the point. That's what they're designed to be. And yeah, that first pilot or that first episode's amazing. I appreciate it. And this other stuff so far, I'm grateful. See, the thing is, like, I, as back then, would not have known a lot of these, like, either tropes, or I would have not known all these other things that I've learned over the years as well. All the experience that I have makes me appreciate the show more. So I feel like as my younger self would not have watched the show and been like, this is not my alley. But as an older man, I appreciate the show a lot more.
So this wasn't your kind of thing at the time this came out?
I don't know, because like I don't. It's like, because I don't know if like I'm willing to go for 19 episodes. I don't know. Like I don't know if I would have done that personally.
If I had seen this, and let's pretend it wasn't as groundbreaking, because that would ruin the whole comparison visually. But let's say it's the same basic story, etc. if I had seen this at any point, probably college and prior in my life, this would have been like one of my all-time favorite shows. Even if it wasn't connected to like a live action movie series, even if it was just an animated series only. If I had seen this in my early 20s or younger, oh God, I would have loved this.
I like to think I'm a open person and a nice person, but in 2012, I think I was a closed-minded person.
And well, we all were in
of course.
Different ways in our young years and in different ways in our older years. Closed-minded people. Okay, we're going to sign off. Look this up if you want to, Isaac and listeners. But the character who appears in the 5th episode, Identity, is like a middle-aged man, white hair program. Why does the character model look like it is 100% based on the actor Peter Stormare? I'm sure Isaac's seen him in something, but he's definitely in Fifth Element and Fargo the movie and many, many other movie roles. Why the heck does that character model look like the actor, but it's not voiced by the actor? What is going on?
Shrugs.
That's the second one in this movie. This one, even more than the last one I mentioned, literally looks like they adapted the real actor's face into this character intentionally.
No clue.
What is going on?
Also, probably best known for his best performance, of course, was in the Seinfeld episode of Frogger.
Is he in that? I love that episode. I didn't remember he was in that episode.
Sorry, the Frogger heist. My bad.
Yeah, I remember the episode. Super funny. I did not recall it.
I'm pretty sure it's him. I'm 99% sure it's him.
I need to confirm that. I have no idea, or I don't remember anyway. Let me find that out.
Having program Eric in, or actually, what's your program called? What would you call your program?
You are correct, sir.
Yes,
and it's called The Frogger. The name of the episode.
It's just The Frogger. Okay, I'm calling it The Frogger.
Season 9, episode 18.
Okay. Hey, by the way, what would your Eric closing statement? Not statements, but your just before close. What would your program be called?
Oh, I was sort of thinking about this earlier.
You know what? Come back in the next episode, and I'll ask you then.
That's a good tease.
And I will also come up with my own program as well, and I will reveal it in the next episode.
That's a good tease, as we used to say in the radio business. And closing out the show today, this is Eric.
And I'm either Isaac or Ike.
And until next time...
I can't wait till Tesla reveals he has Omega legs, making him the animated version of the Stilt Man.
And until then, the sofa is yours.
Prognosis negative.
Force Unleashed, excuse me.
But I'm not. I own it on Switch, and
that's a different version. Well, okay, sorry. I know the one I played the ever living crud out of that game on PSP, but there's a difference between like the stylized version and the realistic, as we used to call it back in the day.
But I believe it's the same as the PS3 version.
Yeah, no, it's similar, just some added levels and or different cutscenes.
The PSP or the Switch one?
Well, they're both the same.
They are?
Yeah. No, because that one was a port of the Wii, the PS2, and the PSP. And then the 360, PS3, and PC were separate ones.
Oh, I knew there was a different version back in the day, but I thought the Switch version was the main console version.
No, unfortunately not. I was surprised as well when they announced that. I was like, really? They're actually not focusing, but they're actually like bringing that one into that's awesome. I was actually happy because you can still get the Force Unleashed on PC on the Steam store, but you can't. I think you've been like it's been console locked out of if you didn't have a Wii or or a PSP or PS2.
Oh, okay, well, that makes obviously, Caleb, you can cut that out.
Or
anyway,
shift it over to someplace else.